One of the other big sort of growth proposals is around housing. Um, sort of to build 1.5 million houses over the next 5 years. I saw the Conservatives put 1.6 in their manifesto, I think just to be higher, without any kind of plan as to how to do it. But do you think politically, Claire, that that's going to hold just because, governments always say we want to do planning reform, and then you get in and, the Royal Society of the Protection of Birds pops up and the National Trust pop up and your MPs in more rural constituencies, which there probably will be this time, pop up and it gets all a bit harder. Do you think, unlike all the other governments, this time they'll actually do it?
Well, I think it's interesting, as I think one of us said earlier, that this is one of the fights Starmer has chosen to pick. And there's lots of fights he's chosen not to pick. And this is one where he said, yes, we're going to run towards this one because it is so critical to getting our infrastructure built. And it is also partly what the Labour team have learned from what the Biden administration have got right and wrong. They didn't in the US make the reforms to their permitting system early enough. So when you turn on the taps in terms of the investment, it hasn't been able to flow into the US in the way that it would have needed to have really delivered early enough. So I think the Labour team have listened. I think they're right to put planning up front. But again, it's alone is a huge piece of structural reform to take on. Can you imagine if we think back of, let's play fantasy politics. My fantasy, Sam's, not yours. That Labour win, maybe they even win 2 terms. What is the thing that we would remember, the defining legacy of this next Labour government? And I would love it to be a new generation of home ownership. I'd love it to be succeeding on planning. But we've talked about over the course of this conversation quite a number of different things. So it's not just that you have just to pick one thing, but if you're gonna go for planning, they're gonna really make a lot of enemies, and therefore you're gonna have to get that lined up in such a significant way that I think that they need to consider really putting so much energy into it up front, because otherwise I think we're at risk that it doesn't happen. It hits all the roadblocks that the Tories have hit, and we know how that goes.